Hi everyone, today on GP Digital Community we're going to talk about the 27th Club, but what it is?
They were very famous rockers and 27 of them died at the age of 27 in mysterious circumstances. Their deaths were surrounded by drugs, alcohol, freak accidents, and suicides. Although most of them are rock seekers, they do not only focus on this, thus making a long list, but there were 7 who marked this group. Let's start with our first member.
Robert Johnson, considered the king of Delta blues, was the first artist to start the 27th Club. Johnson's life and death story is interesting, and that is that according to legend. At the beginning of his career, he was very frustrated because he was not at the guitar, so he decided to take some time off. After a year and a half, Johnson went to a road at midnight, and there he would have invoked the devil to make a pact. He would have asked for unique blues playing and singing skills in exchange for his soul. Many believe this story because he got exactly what he wanted. Robert Johnson died 3 months after his 27th birthday, being one of the strangest deaths. The cause of death is still not clear, since several theories have come out. It was said that he died of pneumonia. Some people have the theory that he died because of the syphilis, and he believed that someone shot him to death. But according to the latest investigations, his cause of death was poisoning. Apparently, Johnson was having an affair with a married woman, and her husband would have put mothballs in a bottle of whiskey that was being consumed by the famous man at the time.
Brian Jones, the death of the guitarist and co-founder of the Rolling Stones, is considered one of the strangest. Jones, 27, was found dead by his girlfriend, Anna Wally, in the pool at his home. Apparently, the girl in despair immediately called the paramedics, assuring that Jones had a pulse. However, when Brian was pulled out of the water, he was already dead. And that was how a second celebrity entered the club of 27. The forensic doctors determined that the death of the guitarist was accidental. In addition, the autopsy revealed that Jones had some abnormalities in his liver and heart, apparently due to excessive drug and alcohol use. And although the final verdict on his death was in the public domain, more versions appeared. It was even said that the musician could have been murdered by a construction worker who was at Brian's residence at the time doing some repairs, and the most absurd theory indicated that one of his companions from the famous gang had killed him.
A year after Jones' death, the Club of 27 welcomed a new member, Jimi Hendrix. The American guitarist, singer, and songwriter was only famous for 4 years. During that short time, he managed to demonstrate his magnificent talent that led him to be considered one of the most influential guitarists in rock history. 2 months before his 27th birthday, he passed away, according to the media of Time on September 17. On 1970, Hendrix was with his girlfriend. The woman told the police that they both had dinner that night and shared a bottle of wine. Then, after midnight, the artist went to visit a friend and returned home around 3 in the morning. The girlfriend asserted that they stayed talking until 7 in the morning and then went to sleep. She woke up around noon to find Jimmy unconscious. Paramedics took the guitarist to the hospital where he was pronounced dead. After performing the autopsy, the coroner concluded that the rocker inhaled his own vomit, causing him to suffocate after being poisoned with barbiturates.
In 3 months, it will be the 51st anniversary of the death of the cosmic witch, Janis Joplin, who will stand out in music for her powerful voice and the great intensity of her interpretation under the genres of rock and blues in the 60s. Shortly after starting her musical career, the interpreter began to use drugs and alcohol excessively. and according to her book about her life going down with Janice, her addiction led her to weigh 35 kilos. With the passing of the years and the extraordinary growth of his success, his use of drugs was also uncontrollable. Joplin was found dead in a hotel room in California by her tour manager, John Cook, on October 4, 1970. According to relatives, this type of situation occurred on other occasions, but this time there was no one to help her. The autopsy concluded that she had died of her heroin overdose, possibly combined with alcohol. Her death was determined to be accidental.
The suicide of the singer of the famous group Nirvana has been perhaps the saddest death in the world of rock. Cobain, who according to his mother had a fixation with the Club of 27, decided to be part of it when he took a shotgun and shot himself in the head. Now Kurt is part of that stupid club of musicians who died at 27, with which he was obsessed, although I insist that he forget about that nonsense, the woman told to the local newspaper. A few weeks before the interpreter Smells Like Teen Spirit, Kurt Cobain had his birthday, and his partner and mother of his only daughter, Courtney Love, decided to carry out an intervention with Kurt's closest family and friends to treat his uncontrolled drug addiction. On March 30, Cobain arrived at a recovery center. On the afternoon of April 1st, his daughter Nanny took the girl to visit her father. That night, the singer escaped from the place after climbing a 6-foot-high fence, took a cab to the airport, and returned to Seattle. On April 8, 1994, the vocalist was found dead in a room above his garage by a man who would install an electrical security system in Cobain's house. His corpse would have remained locked up for several days before being found. Therefore, it is estimated that Kurt Cobain died on April 5, 1994. As well as his other colleagues, the death of the rocker also generated some doubts after the theory that he had not committed suicide, but had been murdered. Some unsustainable investigations indicate that Kurt's wife killed him for money, because she wanted a divorce but would not enjoy her husband's great fortune. These accusations were made by a supposed witness on the fact assuring that Love had offered him $50,000 to execute the crime. Curiously, this person was found dead weeks later, among some other theories about this case.
Jim Morrison. The unexpected death of the vocalist of the group, The Doors, Jim Morrison, once again born at the rock stages. He, also a poet, used to live a wild life dominated by the consumption of drugs, and although before he died he tried to fix things a bit, that surprised him in the bat. On July 3, 1971, exactly 2 years after Brian Jones' departure, Morrison was found dead by his partner Pamela Corson while taking a bath inside his Paris apartment. As detailed by the French media, when the paramedics and the police arrived at the place of death, they found the singer in the bathtub with his head slightly resting on one of the shoulders, and 2 bruises were marked on his chest. Due to the laws of Paris, the authorities didn't see it necessary to perform an autopsy, so the official cause of death was heart failure, although many of his relatives claim he had been treated with a heroin overdose. The singer was 27 years old. The most curious thing about this story is that 3 years later, Jim Morrison's girlfriend died of an overdose, also at the age of 27.
To conclude, this is a tragic group of talented people that we hope to do not become bigger. That was all for today. Goodbye.